The Starship Captain's Journey. Captain David stood on the bridge of the Stardust Drifter, a titan of cobalt blue steel against the black velvet of space. On the main view screen, the rogue planet Nibru loomed, a marble giant on a collision course with Earth. Status report. David's voice was calm, but his knuckles were white where he gripped the command chair. "There's something in orbit, Captain," the tactical officer reported. A dark mass. David leaned forward. Magnify. The image resolved into a nightmare of jagged metal and malevolent energy, a colossal, spiky space station with a warship of equal menace docked like a parasite. A cold dread settled over the bridge. "Captain?" A voice cut through the tension. It was Harmony, his sister and chief engineer, her face pale on a secondary screen. "We can't fight. All weapon systems are offline. Shields are down. We have 3 major hull breaches from that asteroid field." The words hung in the air, a death sentence. David growled, a low sound of frustration. "Engineering confirms, sir," Harmony added. "We're dead in the water." David paced the bridge, the weight of his world on his shoulders. Then he stopped. A reckless, desperate glint appeared in his eyes. "Oh, for fork's sake," he muttered. "Time to cheat." He strode to a reinforced locker in his ready room. He returned to the bridge holding a slender, cobalt blue wand that pulsed with a soft light. Ignoring the stunned silence of his crew, he held it aloft. In a puff of shimmering blue smoke, his uniform melted away, replaced by a short, sheer cobalt dress. Long, wavy brown hair cascaded down his back, and delicate, iridescent wings sprouted, unfurling with a soft hum. The smoke cleared, revealing a stunningly beautiful, human-sized fairy. A few crew members giggled. The fairy cleared her throat, and though the voice was now soft and feminine, it held the unmistakable force of a captain. "Eyes front," she commanded, a blush creeping up her cheeks. "We have a planet to save." Without another word, she ran to the hangar bay. A shimmering blue bubble of energy formed around her as she flew out into the void, a tiny, brilliant speck against the hull of her colossal ship. She hovered above the Stardust Drifter, raised her wand, and a wave of pure magic washed over the vessel. On the bridge, consoles lit up, hull breaches sealed. Harmony yelled from engineering. "Shields are at 200%. All weapon systems are online and supercharged." The Cobalt Fairy flew back to the command room, landing gracefully as the blue bubble dissipated. The fairy waved her wand one last time. A new console, shimmering with blue magical energy, materialized on the bridge. On the view screen, they watched in awe as a new weapon grew from the ship's prow, a gargantuan, double-barreled cannon that glowed with arcane power. "The Cobalt Cannon," she whispered. Her work done, she returned to her ready room, placed the wand back in its safe, and with another soft poof, she was he again. Captain David strode back onto the bridge, his handsome features set in a grim line. "Helm," he barked, his voice a deep baritone once more. "Bring us to that station. Full speed." As the Stardust Drifter approached, a swarm of 200 smaller, black, spiky ships flew to intercept. "Destroy them," David ordered. Talon lasers and griffin cannons erupted from the drifter. Enemy fire splashed harmlessly against the magically enhanced shields as the smaller ships were obliterated in silent, fiery explosions. "Fire Red Wolf missiles at the main station," David commanded. The projectiles streaked through space, but the massive, evil ship undocked and moved to intercept. A shield of pure darkness flared to life, absorbing the missiles without effort. The 2 colossal ships now faced each other across the void, 2 titans ready for a battle beside the fate of Earth. The enemy warship, the Void Reaver, returned fire. A beam of pure darkness, crackling with negative energy, lashed out. The bridge screamed with alarms as the ship was rocked by a violent impact. Harmony scrambled to a sparking console. That beam, it phased right through the magical shields. "We have critical damage in engineering. The reactors are overloading. We can't take another hit like that, David." David stared at the tactical display. The cobalt cannon was charged, but the power drain was causing other systems to fail. The cannon requires a direct energy conduit, he muttered, something more than the ship can provide. A grim realization dawned on his face. There's only one way, he said, his voice low. He ran to his ready room and grabbed the cobalt wand. This time, there was no hesitation. He held it up, closing his eyes as the transformation began again, not with a soft puff, but a blinding flash of light. The change was a torrent of sensation. He felt his rigid bones shifting, his tense muscles softening into a fluid grace. The captain's strength gave way to a fairy's power. The cobalt dress flowed around him as his wings burst from his back, not with a hum, but with a powerful, resonant chord of pure magic that echoed through the ship. She opened her eyes. They were no longer the captain's steely gray, but a vibrant, glowing cobalt blue. She could feel the ship around her, not as a machine, but as an extension of her own body. She floated back to the bridge, her expression no longer embarrassed, but filled with a serene and terrible power. Harmony, her voice echoed with magical resonance. Divert all remaining power to the shields. I will be the cannon's power source. She flew to the magical console and placed her hands upon it. The entire bridge hummed as raw energy flowed from her into the ship's weapon systems. On the view screen, the Void Reaver charged its dark energy weapon again, the cannon's maw, a swirling vortex of nothingness. The fairy gritted her teeth, a bead of glowing sweat tracing a path down her temple as she poured more and more of her very essence into the cobalt cannon. Now, she screamed, her voice shaking the bridge. She shoved her hands forward, and a colossal beam of pure, incandescent cobalt energy erupted from the Stardust Drifter. It was not a laser, but a torrent of raw creation, a river of starlight given form. The cobalt beam struck the Void Reaver dead center. For a heart-stopping moment, the two energies, the magic of creation and the weapon of darkness, struggled against each other. The void attempted to consume the light, but the light was too pure, too strong. The Void Reaver shattered. It did not explode, but imploded in a silent flash of light. The darkness was consumed, and the jagged warship crumbled into glittering dust, which was then swept away on the solar winds. The threat was gone. On the bridge, the fairy collapsed, her wings drooping as the magical console faded away. Harmony rushed to her side. The fairy's form flickered, the cobalt light dimming around her. It's all right, she whispered, her voice losing its magical echo and becoming faint. The transformation back was slow and visibly painful. With a final, shuddering breath, Captain David lay on the floor, back in his tattered uniform. He was pale and weak, but he was himself again. He looked up at his sister. Did we get it? Harmony nodded, tears in her eyes. We got it, brother. He managed a weak smile. Good. Now, what about that planet?